Good morning, everybody, or whatever it is, day. I guess it's afternoon here. This is one of my inspirational videos, so to speak. You know, I've been making videos for a few years now on YouTube, and I've gone through some different ways of thinking, some different ideas I had about what's true, what's not true, what matters, what doesn't matter. And I've been able to move like putty, in a way. I would say more like a slime through a grate, the grate being the block of society, you know, the image that we have of how things are and how things should be and what we're supposed to be doing. And how when you make yourself more loose, more pliable, you're able to sink down through the grate into, well, I guess maybe that's not the best metaphor. You don't really want to be in the sewers now, but that's kind of what it is. It's not the sewer so much as a very deep way of thinking that allows one to understand the world around them a little better, but at the same time holds us back from performing some of the basic daily duties that are necessary for being a productive member of society. You know, I have mixed feelings about dogs. No. I have mixed feelings about what's really important in life, and I go back and forth between thinking that let me say that it's a combination and a balance of the spiritual and the material, and learning not to lean too far towards one direction. Becoming overly attached to spirit and ignoring your daily life is almost just flying in the face of what reality is telling you, that being human and existing in this reality is part of what it means to live in a universe. In fact, it's all we know of living in the universe. What I'm saying is some people dedicate endless amounts of time to a pursuit of a spiritual goal that they haven't even proven to themselves, merely and meanwhile neglecting the daily life that they see right in front of them. Yet some become so attached to the daily life in front of them that they refuse to believe that there's anything beyond it. Now, for me personally, I no longer dispute the fact that there's something greater than me. Whether it be through mathematics or geometry or through just gnosis, you know, however a person wants to understand the universe is completely, you know, that's a very individual search. I see a lot of folks pushing each other around and bullying each other over what they know and don't know, as if, using words like sheeple and asleep and, awake. And it's hard to focus right here with this fucking dog, so I'm going to take my camera indoors. Some neighbors just don't get it. You know, I'm not a freaking perfectionist. I'm not going to sit here and redo this whole video just to make, to make it look nice and fancy. This is, and I'm actually glad that that mutt was barking, because it helps to bring me full circle to really a point I wanted to make in this video, which was that while we're all seeking these truths, these ideas, these whatever is important to you, whatever it may be, there are going to be times when you're going to doubt yourself. There are going to be times when our self-esteem may override the message that we want to convey. We're afraid to be recognized for what we believe, for fear of ridicule. This is something that I've tried really hard in my personal life to. I guess I've never really had that. In other words, I've always been the guy who speaks his mind no matter what. I've always been the guy who, in a group of people, will speak what I believe is true, even if it means everybody looks and laughs at me. And so I've used that to my advantage, rather than trying to change that and say, hey, well, I need to think what everyone else thinks. I've taken it upon myself to make videos about the subjects that I find important. And so what I've noticed is, when I first started making these videos, I would, if something distracted me, like a dog or fire engines, I would just, I couldn't think, I couldn't process, because I was too wrapped up in whether other people would be distracted by that, or anyway, the thoughts have to flow freely. So when I'm speaking, I don't pre-plan anything I'm going to talk about. I have an idea in my head, which was, whatever, being happy or finding your purpose or whatever it is, and boom, I turn on the camera and I start talking. If I were to cut that video off merely because of a noise, then I'm going to miss some of the most important things I was trying to say. So anyway, I've noticed over the years that a lot of people dress up their videos a lot. And I'm not here to harp on anybody who does, because I think that that's important to grasp the attention of some people who can't sit and listen to a person like me ramble on and on. Not that what I'm saying is important, but what I'm saying is, if we're having a discussion, there may be one thing I say that somebody thinks of, that makes somebody think, and then a different thing I say that makes somebody else think. Just like when I'm watching someone's video, I'm the same way. I'll pick up a piece and go, that's the gem I needed to hear, or that's what I needed. But what happens is, there's a lot of fancy background pictures and annoying, distracting music. Sometimes the music overrides what a person's saying, and and people tend to get into these dark voices, and especially when they're talking about negative things, like conspiracies and whatnot. And so what I wanted to say about that was that people know how much of an impact music has on movies, for example. You could watch the most emotional movie, strip out the music, and there's nothing, okay? Or add rock and roll in the background of a romance scene or something. It changes everything. And the music of life is the background of what happens. How we perceive what we're doing, or what another person is doing, or what they're saying, is often... Let me give you an example. If somebody was telling you a really important philosophical theory or story, and they were doing it in an area where there was some, like, say, orchestra music very quietly in the background while they were talking to you. Now picture the same person telling you the same thing, yet standing outside a construction site or something with a bunch of saws going. The message is the same, the words are the same, but the way that your brain assimilates that knowledge is based on how well you, all the different encompassing parts of it. And so we have to remember that our emotions often are dictated by more than just what a person's saying. And this is why I try to keep my videos so simple, because sometimes I say nonsense, and sometimes I, may have something important that comes up, but I want it to come up randomly and by chance, not by planning it and writing it down on a piece of paper. So, with all that said, this, I guess, will be part 1, because I'm running out of space, and I only have 12 seconds left on this card, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it now and make another one, and we'll see from there.